one and all present here. I welcome you all to the Medicine Forum. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Medicine, a platform that has rapidly grown to become one of the most trusted educational partner for medical students across India. Our mission is simple: to provide accessible, high-quality educational resources that empower students to excel in their medical career and journey. With a vibrant community of over 23,000 YouTube subscribers, Medicine has made a significant impact in areas like clinical case presentation, MCQ discussions, career guidance, skill development, etc. We are constantly evolving to meet the needs of all the students and for preparing for competitive exams or seeking to build a strong foundation in medical practice. One of our most innovative initiatives is the mentorship group, specifically designed for the second year MBBS students who are gearing up for their exams. Through this program, we offer a personalized revision plans, daily quizzes, and structured mentorship to ensure that the students stay on track and feel confident about their preparation. This is just one of the many ways medicine continues to support and guide the medical professionals of tomorrow. As we move into the next phase of our journey with exciting sessions lined up, we start our Medicine Career Compass 2024, in which we are very proud to associate with Logiquest Kaplan in charting the path USMLE strategies. And we are having our most distinguished guest, Mr. Abhishek Kumar sir, Director of MEU and Southeast Asia Head. We welcome you, sir. Now I
Thank you,
hand over
Parthiban.
the session to Dr. Raghunandan Ramanathan to introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Parthiban. It is a wonderful initiative taken by Medicine, especially under the guidance of Parthiban and under the leadership of the entire team. And it gives me an immense pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Abhishek. He is a renowned and a prestigious icon in the world of USMLE with immense experience and exposure for the past 18 plus years. He is associated with Kaplan's USMLE division as a Director of Medical Education Unit of Southeast Asia. He had been serving the medical students and doctors for the last 18 plus years and has mentored thousands of medicos and helped them to get a successful residency, including the tough disciplines like surgical branches. His rapport with the program directors in the US has exposed him to understand what the universities exactly expect from the Indian medical graduates and helps him to shape up the students and get successful residency. He has been successful in guiding students to get brilliant scores in USMLE exams too. And this platform is especially focused on helping the students across the state and beyond the state of Tamil Nadu with their career. And in the past 1 year, we have been focusing on various career guidance sessions. And in that, one among it is the today's Kaplan USMLE strategy session. And I welcome Kaplan's team members as well as Mr. Abhishek sir for this wonderful session. And I hope so that this session will help the students. With your initial remarks, sir, let's proceed with the interview of questions that commonly students expect answers. And we have curated from the questions that have been asked so far in the registration. And we have kept certain questions that I think at the end of this session, we will get clarified. So with your initial remarks, we will be proceeding with the questions, sir.
So first of all, thank you so much, Dr. Raghunandan, for having me here. It really gives me immense pleasure to help all the students, especially the Indian students and the Southeast Asian students that I've been helping with for the last close to 2 decades now. I'm pretty sure there are students would have a thought in their mind that I have to get into it. There are a lot of information available across different channels, different YouTube channels, social media, Google, etc. But the common problem with the students is they are not able to collate everything at one particular platform. And I believe through your initiative, this is definitely going to be a small contribution, I would say, from my side, where I can try and help your students with clarifying as many doubts as I can.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So I guess with this, let's proceed into various questions that we have, sir. We have divided the entire session into certain parts where we will start initially with initial understanding about the USMLE and slowly let's proceed into in-depth understanding about the exam, the process and the matching process, etc. So let's begin with the first question to you, sir. And the question is, what exactly a residency in USA is in comparison or in difference with the existing Indian postgraduate programs that we are usually going through the NEET PG exam?
All right. So first of all, let me try to clarify, Dr. Raghunandan. Many times students do have a doubt in their mind that what is residency, because just because the word residency comes into picture, they think there's something more, this is something additional over and above the PG that they do. But since most of your audience, they wouldn't know, but I would just like to clarify that residency in the US is nothing but a post-graduation that you do in one of the programs or hospitals in the US. The only difference I would say is the success ratio of getting a seat in the US is far higher than the what you would be getting in India over here. So yes, more or less, it's the same thing that you go there for higher education as compared to the same post-graduation or the DNB seats that you take here in India. To talk about some key differentiating factors, one I've already spoken about, the chances of getting a residency in the US. That's one. Secondly, why should one look into getting into the US for the residency? Definitely is better technology, better exposure, better research opportunities, better pay package. Why not, right? And if they would want to stay back in the US later on, to work in the US hospitals, do their networking, that is definitely an added advantage that a student would have if they're looking out for the US residency.
Yes, sir. Sir, in that case, can you explain the process and importance of the ECFMG or the intellect certification for Indian graduates?
See, so for me to explain you the ECFMG, I'll have to explain you that for any student to get into the US, they will have to go through a process that they will have to first give the USMLE exam, which is again further divided into two steps. That is the step one, which takes care of the basic sciences. And of course, the step two, CK, which stands for the clinical knowledge, which takes care of your clinical subjects, especially the final year subjects. Once you've given these two examinations, then you give the last exam, which is the communication skill exam, which is called as the OET, which stands for the Occupational English Test. And after these three examinations are done, you then approach the ECFMG for the certification. Now, ECFMG or maybe certification is a very vast topic, but let me give you a crisp clarity before that. Now, any student who wants to appear for the USMLE exam will have to approach an individual autonomous approved body, which is called as the ECFMG, which stands for the Educational Commission for the Foreign Medical Graduates. So those students who are studying inside the US, they will directly apply through the NBADs for the USMLE exams. But anyone, even if it's a US citizen who is studying outside the US, or a non-US citizen who's never been to the US and has always been studying outside, when they want to write the USMLE exam, they will have to approach ECFMG. As I said, it is commissioned for the foreign medical graduates. So anyone outside is a foreigner or an international student. So ECFMG will do the verification process of a particular student, whether you qualify the requirements or not. One of them is have you completed your basic sciences? Now, earlier it was, or maybe even till date, the World Director of Medical Schools has been taken care of. Now, very soon, you will find changes where the WFME, that's the World Federation of Medical Education, would come into picture. So, have you completed these requirements, whether your college qualifies or not? All of these things are taken into consideration, and this filtration is done by the ECFMG for your step one. And of course, when you give your step two, even you approach them. After you've given your OET, now this is where the certification that you're talking about, because previously when we apply for the step one and step two, that is the ECFMG registration for the respective exams. But after the three mandatory exams, that is step one, step two, and OET is done, then you approach the ECFMG and tell them that, okay, fine, I've completed the basic requirements. That is when they will certify you that, okay, fine, you've cleared the basic requirements for you to get into the US, and you're all set. And that is what will give you a green signal to go ahead and apply for the US hospitals and universities of choice.
Okay. So, yes, sir. I think now the students would have got idea about what is the importance of the certification for Indian graduate, or per se any foreign graduates who are outside the US. So now, how is the USMLE structured across different steps? Sir, as you are explaining right now, there is a step one, step two, and how could a student walk through these exam patterns as an Indian medical graduate with the exposure that the Indian medical students have?
Yeah, so let me just start off with your first half of the question which you asked about the details of the USMLE exam. So the USMLE exam typically will comprise of 12 subjects, major 12 subjects in your step 1 and step 2 CK. So it is divided into two, as I said. So step 1 would deal with your first year and second year syllabus or subject, which is your basic sciences or preclinical and paraclinical, as you call it. So you'll have your first year subjects like your anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and then you'll have your second year subjects, which is your pharmacology, microbiology, pathology, and then of course you will have additional one subject which is called as behavioral science. Now, behavioral science, do not get surprised as to this is something new and you're not prepared for it, because you will find bits and pieces of topics in your behavioral science which comprises topics such as aging, genetics, nutrition, etc. So these 7 subjects put together will comprise of your USMLE step 1. And now this is going to be a 100% online exam, which will have 280 questions on the exam day. But one disclaimer that I would like to tell you, this is, I would not say it's like a tough exam, but it is certainly a competitive exam, because this exam is designed for a 7-hour long exam with an additional 1 hour of break. So you have to be glued onto your chair for 8 long hours. Now, since our childhood, all of us are trained physically and mentally to sit at one place and give the exam for max 3.5 hours of test, not more than that. But here, the USMLE demands double the time, double your stamina, for which we're not prepared. So although you must be like a university topper and you know everything about your basic sciences, but the moment you sit for this exam for like a 7 hours pattern, after 4 hours, your mind starts getting drained out, and that is where you are not able to focus. And although you've studied for it, but your accuracy becomes an issue, and you end up having a lot of silly mistakes, and that is the reason why students end up having a lot of errors. You may end up failing if you've not prepared yourself, not just from the content perspective, but from a stamina perspective as well. So that is equally important for any student to take into consideration. But now, there's one recent change which happened about a couple of years ago, where the USMLE step 1 earlier was a 3-digit pattern, which is now changed to a pass or fail, which means either you pass the exam or you fail the exam. There's nothing more than that. There's no third option as such. And students should ensure that your first attempt has to be the best attempt. You cannot afford, or you should not afford to have a fail on your scorecard, because every attempt that you take is recorded onto your score sheet. Right? So that's equally the most important thing. Out of the entire journey, I would strongly say that the step 1 takes the longest for any student to prepare, which is why a student should start with the preparation as early as, even if I say first year, I would not be wrong. And second year, definitely, yes, you should try and jump into it. And so that, your syllabus goes hand in hand, so that by the time you enter the third year, that is when you become eligible to give the exam. So do the prep as early as first year or second year and give the exam by the third year. So this is about the step 1. Talking about the step 2 CK, step 2 CK will have 5 subjects of your final year, which is your internal medicine, pediatrics, psychiatry, OB-GYN, and surgery. So these 5 subjects put together makes your complete step 2 CK. And again, now this exam will be an 8 hours exam with an additional 1 hour of break. So that makes it 9 hours. So that is going to be, one challenge for you to prep from the long hours perspective. And you will have a total of 318 questions, where the cutoff would be 214 to 1/4. Ideally, it is strongly suggested that you should try and aim to get a 3-digit score, nothing less than about a 245-ish or less, to stay in the competition. Because, as I said, the step 1 is pass or fail. So everyone who's going to apply is definitely a pass. So picking the right student for the program that it is going to be certainly tricky and difficult. So now, in the last couple of years, the entire focus has shifted from the step 1 to the step 2 CK. So try and ensure that your step 2 CK scores are as high as possible. And especially if you're looking forward for some surgical branches, then you better ensure that you have a 260s, 265s and above in your step 2 CK. That's the lowest that I'm talking about. That does not mean that I'm asking you to restrict yourself at a 260, 265, but that's the lowest that you can even think of if you're looking out for some surgical branches. And of
Yes.
course, towards the end, you give the OET exam, which is not a big thing. It is a basic communication skills, just like your TOEFL or IELTS, where you're going to be tested on your reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So very self-explanatory. We did not waste time talking about the OETs, but the biggest hurdles are going to be your step 1 and your step 2 CK. Once you've taken these exams, your scores are valid for 7 long years. So you need not worry about what if I take it now and the score expires. Even, I mean, in most of the scenarios, you would be done with your post-graduation, but your scores might still remain active. So don't worry about the validity part of it. So that's the best thing. I don't know if you would want to, or if you have scheduled a question further on the USMLE exam per se, but I'd just like to add one more thing. Your step 1 exam fee is roughly around $11.95, and step 2 CK fees is about $12-20. More or less, I would say in Indian rupees, if you just translate, that's close to about a lakh of a rupee each. So totally both put together, it's about 2 lakh rupees. That was going to be your total mandatory cost that you will have to bear as far as your step 1 and step 2 is concerned. Now, these exams are conducted 365 days a year, of course, minus the Sundays and public holidays. So there's a lot of flexibility that a student is going to get during the exam. And because there's no negative marking, there's a lot of flexibility. I would strongly suggest go ahead and give the exam only when you think you're 100% confident and you're like completely prepared to give the exam. Just don't give it because your friend is going or you think you're running out of time. So yeah, these are a couple of tips that I can give at this point in time.
Thank you, sir. It was really a wonderful insights about the USMLE pattern. And sir, since you are in this field for the past 18 years, can you just explain us with the official statistics that how many Indian students have successfully matched into the US residency in the recent years, and how difficult or how easy it was from the students' perspective as you were guiding lots of students and you are traveling with them?
Well, I would say, see, at the end of the day, rather than bifurcating the data into Indian and Sri Lankan and Nepalis and Malaysians, etc., the best way to segregate this data and come to the exact figure is go with the official statistics, what the body has to say. Don't just Google out anything, or just because I am saying, neither am I promoting myself, they neither listen to me. The best thing is just go to the ECFMG's website and check what is the statistics. So the best bifurcation is going to be the US locals, US IMGs, and non-US IMGs, right? So that's the best way to bifurcate and focus on the data. Now, if you guys, I mean the audience, if you are having a US passport or green card holder, then you become a US IMG. But if you do not have any citizenship or a passport or anything of that sort with the US, then all of us become the non-US IMGs in this case. So by and large, if you see the official data which has been published, you will see that on an average, 60% of the international medical graduates, right? I'm talking about especially the non-US IMGs. It is anywhere fluctuating between 58% to the 62% in this range. So I can easily take an average of about 60%, which means out of every 10 students applying in, 6 people are getting in for sure. Out of 2 best friends applying in, 1 person is getting in for sure. So with having these kind of stats, I'm very confident that students who are looking forward for applying for the US residency, it should not be that tricky or that difficult to get into a specialty of their choice. But again, if you have a very average score, let's say about a 235 or something like that, and then you're saying that, or maybe 235, 240s, and you say, hey, I want general surgery. And obviously you don't end up getting that because it's a very super competitive, specialty that they are offering. And if you do not have the desired skill sets, if you do not have the kind of CV, exposure, experience, etc., then definitely do not have those kind of expectations. And then don't say that, oh, because I saw a YouTube live on Made You Say, and so that sir said that, okay, fine, it is easy to get it, and 60% are getting it, so I haven't got. Obviously, we'll have to be quite practical over here. If you're looking out for the basic ones, if you're looking out for non-surgical ones, about a 245-ish, you should easily be able to get into it.
Okay. I think as you are mentioning, than people having a difficulty in writing the exam, there is a difficulty in understanding the pattern and the process. Once if that is done, at least they can start with preparation. And I hope that this session will be like helping them to have that checklist done so that they can have an idea roughly about what is the USMLE and its pathway. So now, since
Out
you
of
are mentioning,
sorry, I'm just interrupting you. Out of
yeah.
several questions that you might have, or we might just end up discussing, uh everything would have something or the other for me to add. But one tip throughout the start to end of the session, one common tip that I can give to the audience is your biggest factor is going to be time. Right now, either you can consider time as your friend or your enemy, depending on how soon you start or how much you delay your process. That is how the time factor is going to play the game. So time, and time. Especially those students who are in the first years and second years watching us now may not realize what I'm trying to say, but those interns, those graduates who are watching would definitely agree with what I'm trying to say, and they would correlate with what I'm trying to say, the importance of time. So it's better to get done with your processes and just sit at one corner and wait for the right time, rather than doing the running around where you have a hand to mouth situation. We want to avoid such kind of things.
Yes, sir. Sure, I do accept that, sir. And sir, can you explain about the ERAS and NRMP processes and how important they are for securing the residency in the US?
Okay, so first we'll have to understand what the ERAS is all about, right? So ERAS, which stands for the Electronic Residency Application Service. I tell you, in my experience, I have noticed Indian students sending applications anywhere between a minimum of about a 200 to 250, even 300 in a few cases, right? So even if I take an average of 250, how would you apply to 250 places, if I may ask you, Dr. Raghunandan? Either if it is in India, you would either visit those colleges if they're close by, or you might just go to them on their website and go to the apply now section, fill in all your biographics and demographics, and then upload all the documents, pay the fees, and then move on. So after doing so lengthy a process, close to about 30 minutes to 60 minutes, one application that you must have ended up doing it times 250 total number of colleges and hospitals. It is certainly a time-consuming process, which is why we have something called as an ERAS, which is an electronic residency application service. In layman terms, we call it as an electronic postmaster, which is going to do the job of transporting your applications from your computer terminal to the respective computer terminals. On an average, if you have to send 250 applications, I would say you should have a AAMC ID, which stands for the Association of American Medical Colleges. You have to have that ID, password, login, and then fill up all the basic details at once, upload the documents at once, and if it is like 250 total number of places, then they would definitely have some specific the application fee. You pay that at once, and of course there's going to be a bucket where you make a list of hospitals and colleges that you would wish to apply to. So that can be 100, 200, 250, 300, whatever. So in this case, let's assume like a 250. So I've made my own list of 250 places that I wish to apply to. And then at one click, when you say send or submit, it is shot and sent across to 250 places in one single click. So that is how the ERAS would work, right? On an average, 15th of September of each year is when you're expected to send your applications. And once you've sent your applications from your side, then comes in the time where the program directors would receive your applications. Once they've received your applications, what they're going to simply do is they will simply put an electronic filter and say, okay, fine, show me students with step 1 pass, but at the first attempt. So those students who do not qualify that particular filter would be out, at least in that particular selection for that particular hospital. Then the second they might put is, okay, if I show me students with a 245, 250 plus, 260 plus, whatever, depending on the specialty and the cutoffs and the medians that you have for that year, they would have a cutoff, and then they will filter students based on that and say, okay, fine, show me students with this particular score. So people who have low score might not be able to make it for that particular hospital. And so on and so forth, how old is the student, put a filter. They do not want to see more than 3 to 4 years old graduates. Not that old graduates do not stand a chance, but the preference is certainly given to those who have passed in the recent years. So likewise, they will just keep on putting as many filters as they can, because at the end of the day, you also know that they might have 5, 10, 15 total number of seats vacant and available with them. And then the applicants are in thousands. So they have to somehow get this number down, right? After this is done, then they would start looking into, for those cream of cream students, then they will start looking into the other factors, which is your quality of application package, how beautifully have you written and drafted your statement of purpose, the letters of recommendation that you have, are those Indian letters of recommendation or US or both, your MSPEs, which is the medical school performance evaluation, which is usually done by your dean. All of those are taken into consideration, that how well have you presented yourself. Then maybe, do you have any research with you, any publications, any extracurriculars, any volunteering service, how beautiful is your CV, what are the accolades that you carry under your belt. All of this is looked into by these program directors. Now, few of them in that particular stage would be shortlisted, few of them definitely would not make it up to the mark, and that is how the funnel would work, and that's how the filtration would work. Now, those handful of students who've made it to the next round, these guys would be called in for interviews, right? So interview is a must, it is a mandate. A student will have to appear for the interview, right? And after depending on how your interview has been, then again, the program directors would shortlist those students whom they've really liked, who've cracked all the rounds so far, right? Now comes the last part, which is the part B of your question. What is the NRMP? Now, I had, for example, 10 seats and I have shortlisted 10 candidates, right? Now, all those 10 cannot be at par. So definitely, I would definitely have preferences. Like, for example, Dr. Raghunandan, if given a choice, is my second best choice, but Dr. Parthiban is my first choice, right? Because both are good, but if I have to choose one, I will definitely have that kind of, preferences and likings based on your profile, of course. So in that kind of scenario, I will give ranks to particular candidates, and I am going to submit my data of ranks to this NRMP, which stands for the National Resident Matching Program, right? So they are the official body who is going to do the matching process based on the data and the inputs that the university program directors are going to submit. However, in turn, you as a candidate, when you are giving interviews, I am not the only university that you are giving the interviews at. You might have given, you must have given it 3 places, Dr. Parthiban must have given it 5 places. At the end of those 3 or 5 interviews, you also need to rank or give your preferences, that, okay, fine, University A is my 5th choice, but University B is my 1st choice, and University C is my 7th choice, whatever it is. And then you will also give your choices to NRMP, that's the National Resident Matching Program. So what NRMP usually does is, through a computerized process, they are going to do the matching process. Now, this is not as simple that it sounds the way I am saying. There's definitely a lot of algorithm which happens at the back end. In the past, I had done one webinar just to explain how this matrix works. That video is still available on my YouTube channel, right? That is the Logiquest Kaplan. So you can watch that, but just to make you understand, and through a computerized process, then we get to know that which student has got matched and at which place, which hospital, right? Somewhere around the second or the third Friday of March, that's when your results are out. Congratulations, you've matched at so and so place. So yeah, that's how the process works, and that is the NRMP for you, and that was the eras of how the process works. In short, I mean, I can just give a lot of details, talk about it in depth, but that might take even more than half an hour or 1 hour. But for you to know in short and crisp, this is what it is.
Thank you, sir. It was brilliantly explained, and I hope the audience would have understood the matching process. Sir, as you are in this field, you might know there will be some common mistakes that the Indian graduates do, and that leads to not getting a proper matching for the students. So, what are your suggestions so that that can be avoided by the people, those who are applying for the ERAS?
Well, again, first of all, I would say lot of procrastination, not having things done in time. Again and again, I'll be telling you timelines, timelines, timelines. That's a common scenario which is seen across. Second is because of the timelines, students are not able to plan their journey accordingly, right? So when I'm saying that give your step one in the third year, students end up usually giving it maybe in the internship year, or even after they graduate, then they start their process, because they would want to give an attempt or two for their NEET PG first. Only if it doesn't work out, then they start looking into it. But in the process, they somewhere fail to understand that, okay, fine, you start looking old on your CV, because there's a gap of 2 years in between, 3 years in between, and the older you graduate, then they would not want to have you as a first choice or a first preference. So that is one of the tips that I can tell you. Second is, I have seen that students usually, when they want to do the clinical rotations, right, they would not even take the step one first, or either of the steps, I would say, and they would just want to go to the US and do their clinical rotations just because their friends are going, the batchmate is going, junior is going, senior is going, someone is going. When we ask them questions, have you taken your steps? And then most of them say, no, we haven't. Why? Is because two reasons. One is, oh, I was being told by my batchmate or my senior that once I graduate, I'll not be able to get a hands-on clinical rotation. And that is the reason why I'm just going now and doing it. Now, we have also seen in a few cases when the student comes back after taking the clinical rotation, unfortunately, a few students fail. And then they stop their journey of US there itself, and they start something else, maybe a UK, India, or any other country of their choice. What has happened? What was the takeaway of all of this? You ended up wasting a lot of money, you ended up wasting your time. And let's not deny the fact that mentally you were completely, you just broke down mentally, because, oh shit, now what do I do next? Because it appears like a dead end in front of you, which ideally is not if it has been structured properly. And in the other scenario, let's say you pass your step one or a step two. Now, on an average, step one takes about 9 to 12 months of preparation. Step two takes about 4 to 6 months of preparation. Then the OET takes about a month or two. So all of these put together itself is about 1.5 years, right? And then if you've done your clinical rotations later, ideally that should help, because the old letters of recommendation, if those are the only ones that you have, then that is going to be a problem, because they're like 2 years old, 2.5 years old letters of recommendation that you are trying to submit it to the program directors now, which you've done it like 2-3 years ago. Yeah, that's a separate story. If you've done a few in the past and before you apply you've done a couple of them, and then it's a combination of both, then it's fine. But if you're just trying to apply basis your 2 or 3 years of the old letters of recommendation, I'm not saying it's like a no-no, but it is not definitely a very pleasant experience for the program directors as well. So these are the two things that I have seen that usually people make mistakes. Last but not the least, there are plenty, I would say. People do not plan the step 3 in advance, and they actually realize what the step 3 is all about almost towards when they're about to apply. And then again, it leads to time crunch, time factor. As I was saying a couple of seconds ago, the biggest problem here is they do not have the desired CV. They do not have the research done as per the expectations of the US program directors. They do not have publications or anything of that sort. And maybe with an average mediocre score, they wish to apply for general surgery. Obviously, they get doomed. They do not end up getting a surgical seat. By and large, if you take a survey, you will find 8 out of 10 students will have a standard statement: Indians don't get a surgical seat. But if you see logically, just think about it logically, it is nothing about you being Indian. It is about you not being able to match their expectations, right? Because for example, if you have an outstanding CV, you've cracked the interview, you've got all the desired scores, you give me one reason why you should not get a surgical seat. This students somewhere don't understand. And most importantly, also do the math. Please do the math. Now, if I check the official stats in the year 2024, when the results were out, roughly around 1,700 total number of seats were offered in the last season. And out of those 1,700, few went for the US locals, few went for US IMGs, and then few for non-US IMGs. With a handful of seats, just imagine the kind of seamlessness and nicheness that your CV and profile should have. And if you do not have that, obviously you cannot expect that kind of results. And again, as I said, the bottom line, Indians don't get surgical seats. So that's wrong. I somewhere disagree with you or with the students. Yes, I have been successful enough in giving or helping students with surgical seats. Of course, I would say the number is not very great, very big, but yes, it is tough, but it is not impossible.
Yes, sir. While you are telling about the rotations, I have a third case where students might not be able to go for a US-based rotation before attempting or while attempting their USMLE steps. So what would be your recommendation to the students who are unable to do a US-based rotations?
If you can just add some more data to your statement as to why they are not able to get a US-based rotation.
No, if they were unable to or if they haven't. So both the ways, if they haven't
So
gone for a...
So that's what I'm saying. So you can procure clinical rotations. If you know the process, or if someone can help you get one, great, just go ahead with that. If not, come to Kaplan Logiquest. We will help you. We have a huge network of hospitals in the US, and if no one gives you, then Logiquest will definitely help you get a seat in the US. Even no matter you're a student or a graduate, we will give you hands-on clinical rotation even as a graduate. If you're under the impression that once you graduate you just get observerships and not be hands-on, then let me tell you, if no one gives you, I can help you get you hands-on clinical rotation in the US even as a graduate. So that's the first thing that you should take into consideration. However, that's the last thing that you do before you apply. That is also one of the takeaway for the students who are looking forward for applying, maybe this year or next year, as the case may be.
That's a wonderful positive note, sir, from your side. Thank you so much. And moving on with the application process, how should an Indian student structure their CV to stand out? As you are telling, building up a CV is the one that separates you, that gives you a higher edge from others. So what is your suggestions to the Indian students structuring their CVs to stand out during a residency application process?
Well, for you to have a complete, ready and a structured CV at the time of application, you will have to start with it as early as maybe first year or latest by second year to start building and structuring your CV. And you can have anything and everything under the sky of medicine or US. In the early years, like first years and second years, because there's not much of academic pressure on you, I would strongly suggest and recommend that just go ahead and do some kind of volunteering activities, join some NGOs, join some clubs, something like maybe a Rotary Club, Rotaract Club, Lions Club, Cry Foundation, WHO. Even the smallest thing like volunteer in the blood donation camp is also going to add to your profile. Once you grow further in the next years, at least in the second year, you can start with some kind of a small project or a research maybe in pharmacology. That's the best thing that you can do in the second year. You can also have something like doing the BLS and ACLS kind of certifications, which will add to your profile. Try, and in the next year, maybe after the third year or so, you can definitely try considering doing or some volunteering, online volunteering opportunities because of time constraints. Do take into consideration or definitely try to register yourself with API USA, that is the Association of American Physicians of Indian Origin, or you can try to online Coursera course. So all these kind of certifications are definitely going to help you. In the second years and third years, you can also try to do and participate in paper presentation, case presentation, poster presentation. They are going to help you. If your medical school is going to, or if you have some kind of academic fest, UG conferences which are hosted by your college, try to be a member of the organizing committee, something like a chairman, president, or something like that, so that you would be hosting the entire show, and there would be people who are going to report into you, because there's a lot of team coordination which is required in these kind of events. You're definitely going to get a letter or a certificate, experience letter at the end of it. Now, when you're trying to add these kind of things to your CV, that also somewhere reflects your leadership qualities, and that is definitely going to be an added advantage in your CV building. And once you're into the final year and internship year, try to give as much as importance to your research. That's what I can tell you. Now, recently, there was some update from the ICMR that for the final year students, they will stop accepting students for the STS program. But at least in the second year and third year, if you're doing some kind of research, then try to get that published as early as you can. Maybe in the later years, you can try to publish it in online journals, which is like something like a PubMed or so. That is also going to help you in your entire CV building, or maybe the research factor.
Okay, so thank you. Now we'll move into the Kaplan's role in preparation for USMLE. How does Kaplan's Logiquest program help Indian students prepare for USMLE and secure residency, sir?
Well, just in layman words, if I have to say, I would simply say, once I hold a student's hand, maybe as early as first year or second year, I will just release that once the student gets a residency in the US. I will say, okay, fine, tata, bye-bye, and congratulations, all the best for your residency. So it's an end-to-end thing that we would be helping them with, no matter it is, helping them with the step 1 preparation, the step 2 preparation, giving them, guidance on maybe the OETs, or, how to build your CV. Clinical rotations is what I'll be helping the students with. Assisting them, or actually helping them with a course, because Kaplan offers courses for live, online, as well as on demand in the step 1, as well as step 2, as well as step 3. So all these steps, we will get them prepared as far as Kaplan is concerned. And towards the end, once they're done with the steps, then giving them some tips, and helping them with the application process, prepping them for the interviews, end to end, till the time they get into residency, that we're going to help the students with.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you share any one experience of how Kaplan's guidance supported students from their exam preparation to successfully matching into residency?
Well, I would say I would not really have one example as such, because every second student, that who becomes a part of the Kaplan family definitely has a lot of questions and queries. So we have a separate group of enrolled students of Kaplan. So that is when, if they have any kind of questions or so, they will definitely try and just get in touch with us. We have a dedicated officer who will be constantly in touch with the student for any kind of things. And then comes the stage where they would want to have some more questions. Am I exam ready? Should I be giving the exam? So that's when we will sit with them and give them a feedback. And if something is missing, something is wrong, then I can also tell them, okay, fine, this is what you need to do, A, B, C, D, E. And unless and until these things are done, you're not exam ready. Or, okay, fine, great, consistently you're getting great scores in the internal assessment. Okay, fine, let's sit together and book an exam date. So that is how, right from that stage to the time they get into it, they will have millions and trillions of questions. Okay, fine, what about my visas? What about my clinical rotations? When is the right time for me to apply? How can I apply? When can I get back to you on this? So those kind of discussions keep happening till the time they get into residency. Now, currently, as of today, I have one of my student who has been with me throughout since his first year, and first step of his USMLE journey under my guidance. He has completed his step 1, his step 2, step 3 as well. He's in the US right now. He would be giving his step 3 in the next a few days, maybe in a month's time or so. And currently, he's also secured a position in Mayo Clinic for doing his research per se. So all of that, guidance is definitely been done by me as well as my team.
Okay, sir. And the next question is what comes in mind in almost every Indian medical student's family. What are the financial considerations for Indian students should they keep in mind when preparing for USMLE and for applying the residency program?
See, most of you may have already Googled it, but I don't know. For you, if you and your audience know, that's a great thing. But for those who do not know, let me tell you, there's no concept of tuition fees in the US. So the US fees or the US seat that you're going to get is going to be absolutely free, absolutely zero. So if you're getting a seat, it is going to be free, or you're not going to get a seat. It's as simple as that. So there's no financial burden on your parents' pockets for sure. The only thing that is going to cost your in your entire journey is going to be your initial investment, starting from as early as your step one till your residency begins. That is going to be the investment, which includes your step one fees, your step two fees. If you're interested in Kaplan, then of course Kaplan fees. Then it is going to be the step three, the OETs, then your visa cost, your flight cost to the US, your clinical rotations for an average of 3 months. Then I would say your flight cost, your stay cost in the US, food, travel, etc. Applications cost. So I guess under these heads, I've covered all the major expenses. And if you club and sum all of those, it is going to be roughly around 20 to 25 lakhs. That is going to be your investment. And once you're done and once you get a residency seat, then there's no looking back, because as I said, you do not pay them anything. Rather, you would start getting paid by the hospitals on an average $5,000 to $6,000 for a month. So each month, right from day one, you would be paid 5,000 to 6,000, somewhere in that range. The amount would get credited into your bank account.
Okay, sir. So all these preparations, everything, the ultimate aim for these are to get ourselves placed in the US. So what are the key advantages according to you in pursuing a medical career in US when compared to India, especially in terms of clinical practice or research?
Well, well, it looks like a repetition of question, but again, I'll answer and repeat my answer. So when we started the session, we covered these points as to why are we looking at US. So definitely there are a lot of factors that one should look forward for. See, let's do a basic comparison. So if anyone wants to get into India, as of now, there are roughly around 2 lakh students who are taking the the NEET PG exam as of today, against which the total number of seats is anywhere between 40 to 60,000 seats. So which means 1/4 of the students are getting placed, but the balance 3/4 are yet not having any kind of clarity as to what do I do next after my couple of attempts of NEET are done, after a couple of seasons of my applications are done, and still I do not have any kind of clarity or any kind of assured seat with me, right? And so a student might just try once, twice. Thereafter, he might come back to US and say, oh, okay, fine, you know what, I've just done with it. So either I have to start from the beginning, the step one, step two, and then get into it. Or he might say, okay, fine, I don't want to do anything. And he might, unfortunately, join somewhere as working in some hospital as a junior medical officer or something like that, which we do not want, of course. So which is why you have to start working on this and have a plan B, which is the US residency. So as I said, getting in India is certainly going to be a challenge, whereas in the US, we spoke a while ago, roughly around 60%, 62% in that range. That is the kind of statistics what the US is offering. So when we compare these kind of stats, definitely US becomes slightly easier to consider as compared to the Indian scenario. Second factor, so that was one factor why one should consider the US. Second factor, I would say, technology, a better upgradation of your knowledge, research opportunities, platform, a different a world that you are going to, start working in and exploring your skill sets that you've acquired in the last 5 years, and then followed by the residency that you would be doing in the US, which is about 3 to 5 years, depending on the specialty that you take. Now, until now, these were the factors, but in the last couple of months, I'm compelled to add another factor, which is definitely safety, doctors' safety, right? So what is happening around in India, I'm hoping and assuming to a larger extent, we overcome this particular factor if you're, trying to get into the US. So considering all of this, better work-life balance, etc. There are other factors also that you can take into consideration. And the most important thing, we spoke a while ago again, which is the vitamin M. Now, what is this vitamin M? If you're thinking, let me tell you, it's the money, right? So the official statistics, the official salaries starts at $200,000 and above. So that's nothing less than 1.6, 1.7 CRs that your salary starts after your residency, which could be a challenge if you've done your PG from India. So it's a combination of all these factors why one should consider US as a destination.
Thank you, sir. And this will be our last question from our side. So, what are your piece of advice for anyone who have completed their PGs in India but now are considering their career in US? Should they undergo the same thing again?
Well, no matter it is the student or a graduate or a postgraduate in India, the process remains the same, right? In fact, even a US citizen who wants to get into the US for their residency will still have to follow the same process where they'll have to give the step 1, step 2, etc., step 3, everything. So now if you are already a postgraduate here and then you want to go to the US, you can still do that. But again, there's no shortcut to escape the step 1, step 2, etc. We will have to go through all of those processes. But there are a couple of things that one will have to take into consideration. One, there's a likely possibility that you might not be able to stay back in the US because people who've completed their residency in the US would be allowed to stay back, subject to your visa conditions, employment, other factors. But if you've completed your PG from any other country, could be India or anywhere else, and then trying to get into the US, your chances of staying back in the US and working in the US are going to be skim. You can definitely take a higher education and then come back to your home country and then practice and work in any of the hospitals. That is fine. Second factor is getting into the fellowship. Now, what you're talking about is a super specialty. That is a fellowship is certainly going to be tougher as compared to getting into residency, right? Because more number of seats are offered in residency. Obviously, it's like a pyramid. So as in when you just go up, the total number of seats offered are definitely going to reduce. And that is also one of the things that you have to take into consideration. And by the time a student is already a postgraduate, either he must be married or maybe having some family, etc. So you'll have to take into consideration these factors. Should I disturb my set life? I've got a job to do. I've completed my post-graduation. I'm a practicing doctor. Now I want to get into the US. Now, are you ready to take this challenge of completing these steps? Are you ready to take the challenge that what if I do not get a fellowship seat in the US? Then what do I do? Then, so if you're okay with all of these things, then you should try. Otherwise, you'll have to take these factors into consideration before having any kind of high hopes in your mind as far as your fellowship is concerned. I mean, I hate to give this suggestion, but again, one person who's already done a PG here can repeat his residency in the US. So that makes you eligible to stay back and work in the US hospitals, again, subject to your visa conditions.
Thank you, sir. Actually, this session was really a good insight for the students who are planning to join their planning to attend their USMLE step 1, step 2, and beyond that. Now, I would like to discuss two unique questions that have been received from the YouTube site. One is, as we know that there are recent mushrooming of medical colleges across our country, and most of the time, these medical colleges haven't received their sponsor note yet. So what is your insights about the ECFMG sponsor notes and the colleges that has been established after 2017, since there's a lag between the NMC's approval and the ECFMG's sponsor note?
Well, it's not just a lag from the ECFMG side, but I'm sure you must have heard of the update that the WDOMS, that's the World Director of Medical School, is now getting shifted from the World Director of Medical Schools to the WFME. But until now, until the 2023, there was no certifying body in India. That is the reason why there was a delay. But now, if you go to the NMC's official website, on their official website, they have clearly mentioned, there are a lot of official articles as well, which says that NMC has now gotten approval of going ahead and certifying the colleges. And as for the last update that I had on their website as well, all the 706 medical colleges, right, which comes under the NMC, are now all eligible to appear for the USMLEs, right? And I'm just waiting for the WFME's thing to launch. So once it is done, then it is going to be okay. And everyone, but again, as per the update, as I said, anyone and everyone in India who's currently studying in the medical college can now appear for the USMLE exam. So you need not worry about the sponsor notes or so. And as I said, it's still in process. And if you've not started with your USMLE journey, it's still going to take about a year's time for you to finish and be confident to give the step 1 exam. So don't worry about the sponsor notes. Just worry about, are you prepared for the USMLE step 1, especially the first step. So in the next 1 year or so, there are authorities who are doing their job. They are on it. They would be working on it, and they would ensure that every single Indian student who wants to give this USMLE exam would be eligible and will be giving the exam as early as they can.
Thank you, sir. And last question from a person. Sir, since many are now seeing the video or seeing this live stream, some of them are graduates. So is Logiquest Kaplan from your side guiding the students, even an intern or a post intern, and how effectively Logiquest can help them to complete their USMLE journey?
Well, a couple of things that I'd like to tell you. First of all, if anyone who's watching this video is interested in starting the USMLE journey, think you're just a little bit inspired by this particular live stream, I would suggest, just call up on our offices. You can go to our website, take our number from there, which is www.logiquest.in, or you can call up on our hotline number, which is 7219204804. I repeat, you can make a note of it, or you can just put it in the chat somewhere, 7219204804. Get connected with any of our local offices, and all of our team members are well equipped with adequate knowledge to help you answer your questions. And of course, we offer the live online program. We offer the on-demand program. Now, there are different programs designed as per the students' needs and requirements. So you can do that as well. And once you get enrolled, obviously, you would somehow get connected with me as well as my team members, and that's where we will, help you with your entire USMLE journey, followed by your residency journey as well. One thing, it is there on the Kaplan US website. It is then our Logiquest Kaplan website. Everywhere it is mentioned in writing, in black and white. Kaplan now offers you a pass guarantee or your money back. This is how confident Kaplan is about their teaching, about its program, about its structure, that we are confident, because Kaplan is not here to just distribute money, but also to ensure that, yes, you get the results of your as per your expectations. You do not want to be into a corner getting doomed. And we're so confident that if you do not pass, or you do not get the results, you get your money back. So that is one of the reasons why students should consider joining Kaplan, because absolutely no one is giving you this kind of assurance what Kaplan gives you. If you join the live online, there's another benefit, is you will also be assigned with a one-on-one medical advisor. These medical advisors are from the Kaplan US team. They would get connected with you maybe over a Zoom call or something like that. You can definitely ask for the details with my team members, and these you can discuss your your doubts with our mentors from the US. It can be either restricted, or it can be pertaining to your USMLEs, or it could be about your clinical rotations. It could be about your residency interviews, residency application, anything that you have. We have our medical advisors. We have our team here to help you, assist you at any point in time. Most of my medical advisors are doctors, so they've seen the Western world, they've experienced. So none of us are going to give you any such advice which is going to be detrimental to your residency application.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. With the last one, I think we can conclude. So what is your piece of advice to all those who are watching? I think you would have already mentioned everything, but there will be a concluding message from your side that this has to be followed and this will be your final message. So I request you to give your closing remark or a final message to all those who are going to watch and who will be watching even after the session. They can watch through our YouTube channel. So what is your advice for them, sir?
Well, as you rightly mentioned, most of the pointers are covered through the different questions. So let me just pick those pointers and make it into one for everyone. A few tips. It could be a little bit lengthy, so please bear with me. So one is definitely start as early as you can. Even if I say the day you watch this video stream, could be today or maybe a couple of days or 2 months or 2 years after this, even if you take a decision of starting your USMLE journey on the same day, it would not be exaggeration, because trust me, guys, I've seen thousands of students crying, literally crying. I wish, sir, I got months more. I wish I got 15 days more. I wish I got 6 months more. We don't want to get into that situation. So start as early as you can. Second thing is, you may have a lot of confusions or different opinions and views from different people. Some seniors saying something, YouTube is saying something, Google is saying something. If you have any confusions, come to us and take the right kind of advice, so that irrespective you want to do it or not, but at least you have the right information with you. So do that. Do not have this kind of misconception in your mind that, oh, US is all is super tough, everything is in English, I might not be able to comprehend, especially those students who are watching it from a rural geographical demographic area or something. So everyone will get accustomed to it. So I don't think that's anything to worry about. And last but not the least, it is certainly not as expensive, I would say, as compared to any private medical school in India. So when you have the opportunity, when you have the platform, and when you have mentors like Kaplan to help you, guide you, I do not see any reason for you not to take this opportunity. At least give it a try. Try for yourself. It's better to repent by trying rather than not trying at all and then repenting. So these are the few things that I would want to specifically mention onto this particular concluding note.
Thank you so much, sir. I think all the participants had a wonderful session today, and it proved beneficial to them. Hoping to meet you in many more sessions together. Thank you so much, sir.
If there's one more thing, I am likely expected to be in Chennai maybe by the 26th, 27th, that weekend of this month, of course, 26th, 27th of October weekend. I would be available in my Chennai office. So if there's any audience from Chennai who would want to meet me in person, please call up my office, especially the Chennai branch, take an appointment, and I will definitely try to ensure that I spend some time with you, explain you everything. If there are any questions which you can't think of now, you have later, or if you're shy of asking now, I'll be more than happy to, answer all your queries in person. Get your parents, and then we can always discuss.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Most welcome. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. The session is over, sir.
Over.